All right, everyone, welcome back to another video. And today, what I have for everyone is my full camera walkthrough and my photo and video samples for the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE. All right, so in today's video, I'm going to walk you guys and gals through everything that you guys and gals need to know in regards to when we talk about the cameras on the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE and how to use them. And then I'm going to attach all of my photo and video samples that I've taken with the device. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to come back and let you guys and gals know how I feel about the device overall in regards to the cameras and whether or not I would recommend that you guys and gals pick up the device today in regards to the cameras. All right. So I hope you guys and gals find this video helpful. Keep in mind this will be a longer video, so it will be time-stamped down below in the video description for your convenience. So feel free to jump around to different parts of the video that you guys and gals would like to know more about. And with that being said, I also want to point out that in regards to the video samples, it's not going to be as much as it usually is. I'm only going to record the video samples in 1080p variants and at 1080p and 4K. All right. Now the video overall will be rendered and uploaded in 2K just to save time on rendering speed and file sizes. Just want to get that out the way up front. So without further ado, let's jump into today's video. Now, first things first, before I show y'all how to launch the cameras and we get into talking about the camera interface, I want to show you guys and gals how you can configure the 2 different ways that you can launch the camera out of the 3 ways that you can launch the camera in general. Way number 1 is from your lock screen. All right. So from your lock screen, you can configure some icons, one of which is launching directly into the camera, and the other one is launching the phone dialer. Let me show you how you do that. So we would jump into settings, all right? Then you just want to go down to, you see lock screen and always on display. So we're just going to go down here, right there, and then you want to go down till you see the option that lets you customize the lock screen portion of the lock screen here. All right. That would be edit your lock screen right here. Tap on that. And then from here, you can actually edit what icons come up on the lock screen. And you can see by default, they made it the camera and the phone dialer, but you can actually edit this, right? So if I wanted to, I can change this to any icon that I want. So I can make it the flashlight. I can make it do not disturb. I can make it any application on my device. I can add that shortcut to the lock screen here. And now you can only have 2 on Samsung devices. But that's how you would configure the lock screen shortcut for the cameras. Maybe you want the cameras, maybe you don't want the cameras. It's up to you. So that's way number 1, editing it to have it on your lock screen, right? Now, let's go over to the next way that you can launch the cameras. Way number 2 is by quickly double pressing the power button. And you can do this from any screen on your device as long as your device is powered on. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate these things in a little bit here. Let me show you how you can configure this. Now, to do this, you would jump into settings and you would search for side button. But the quickest way to get into this is actually to swipe down twice to bring up your quick toggles. And then you can see in the upper corner here, we have 3 icons. We have a settings gear icon, we have a power button icon, and then we have an edit icon. So if we hit the power button icon, you can see I've configured it to launch the power menu. But down below, you can see it says side button settings. So if we tap on this, this will take us into our side button settings. And you can see we have a few options. We have a double press option, and then we have a press and hold option. And you can see I've configured mine to where a double press launches you directly into the cameras, And I've configured it to where a press and hold launches you into the power menu. By default, this comes to where a press and hold launches Bixby. Nobody really uses Bixby. I'm sorry, Samsung. And then by default, they do have it to where a double press launches you directly into the cameras. But you can click on open any app. And again, you can do it to where a double press launches you into any app that you have on your device. Okay? So that's how you would configure your lock screen for launching the camera or whatever you would like, or your double press option for launching the camera or whatever you would like. Let's put that back to double press launches the camera. And then now I'm going to put up some B-roll here to show y'all how to use these options. So like I said, the first one, as you can see, I'm going to put it up right now. The first one, from the lock screen on your device, you just swipe up on the camera icon and that takes you directly into the main camera interface. Okay, so you can see it's real easy here. Anytime I just want to get into the cameras and I'm on my lock screen, I just swipe up on that camera icon, takes me directly into the main camera interface here. And then you can see the other option, a quick double press of the power button. Basically, as long as my device is powered on, it really doesn't matter if the display is on or not. As soon as I double press the power button, it's going to take me directly into the main camera interface. And then the third option is simply by pressing the camera icon from wherever you have it located on your device. You can see I have a dedicated camera and galleries folder. I'm just going to tap on the camera icon, and now we're into the main camera interface for the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE. Now, I'm gonna go over everything you guys and gals need to know in regards to the main camera interface from top to bottom, left to right. And this will also show you how I have my device configured. Alright? So from top to bottom, left to right, let's get started here. So you can see we're gonna start off with the main photo interface here. And at the very top in the left hand corner, we have the subsettings gear icon that will drop you into the subsettings for the cameras, right? We're going to come back to that one. Right next to that, we have our flash controls. So by default, it comes set to auto, but I always turn flash off because I don't like to use flash. But you see, you tap on it and then you select the setting you would like. So you have auto, you have on, or you have off, and I have mine set to off. Right next to that, we have timer controls, and same rules apply. So you tap on it, you click the timer option that you want, and then it sets it. Now, sadly, we do not have timer controls for the video camera portion, but we do have timer controls for the photo camera portion, right? Right next to that, we have our ratios. So you can record in 3x4 or 4x3, 16:9 or 9:16, depending on how you hold the device, full screen, and 1:1. And you can see I have my device set up to record in 4x3 or 3x4. It really just depends on how you're holding the device. Then right next to that, we have a live photo option. So this just records a little bit of video before you take a photo and a little bit of video after you take a photo, and it gives you that action photo effect similar to what the iPhones do. And you can see I have mine turned off. I don't really like that option, and it does make the photo sizes a little bit bigger. And then directly after that, we have our filters. I'm not a big fan of filters, but they do have a variety of different filters here, and you can always go and add more. And you can specify the strength of the filter right below it. Okay, but I'm not a big fan of filters. If I was to use this filter, it would be white and black. I'm a big fan of white and black photos, but that's your filters. You also have your face emoji effects on here as well. Again, I'm not a big fan of that either, so I have that turned off. Okay, but that's how you go through that. Let's get out of that. And now we're back to our main composition window. Directly below those settings, we have our main composition window itself. And then directly below that, we have quick shortcuts to the ultra wide camera, the primary camera, and the telephoto zoom camera. Okay? And if you press and hold on this, you get more shortcuts that pop up below it, and then you can swipe between the cameras. So you can just swipe slowly, get into your ultra wide, or you can swipe through, and you have much more granular control of your cameras here. Really, really nice. And you can see in terms of zoom for the photos, we can go up to 30 times zoom, right? And then if you want to quickly go back, you just tap the shortcut icon and it takes you back. And then you can see you have other metrics just below that. So we could do 1 times, we could do 0.5 times, we could do 3 times, 10 times, 20 times, all the way up to 30 times. And again, if you swipe and hold, you have those granular controls. Alright, so let's go back to 1 times here. And then directly below that, we have our different camera modes in a nice little carousel that you can access by swiping left and right through the carousel. Right? We're going to get into those modes in a second. Now, if you want to quickly jump to your front-facing camera, you just have to swipe up and you go to the front-facing camera. How y'all doing, y'all? You can do that same thing by swiping down as well. So if I swipe back down, it will take us back to the rear-facing camera. So if you want to quickly jump to the front camera, you can swipe up or down from the main viewfinder, and that will take you to the front-facing camera. And guys and gals, everything that you can do with the rear-facing camera, you can do with the front-facing camera. The only difference is you only have one front-facing camera. Alright? But everything you could do with the rear-facing camera, you can basically do with the front-facing camera. And my same rules apply when recording video with the front-facing camera. So I'm only going to record video with the front-facing camera in 30 FPS at 1080p and 4K, and it will be rendered at 2K, right? But you can see in regards to the front-facing camera, you can take photos in 2 different resolutions. You have a max 32 megapixel resolution here, and or you have a default 10 megapixel resolution. Now, the 32 megapixel resolution gives you a much more detailed photo, but you can see it punches out the image a little bit more, whereas the 10 megapixel photo zooms in the image a little bit more and it cuts down on the overall file sizes. Me, myself, in regards to taking photos, I did everything with it set to 32 megapixel mode. Alright? So that goes over the front-facing cameras. Alright, let's get back to the rear now. Now, below our modes for the cameras, we have a shutter button in the center. We have a shortcut to our gallery off to the left. And we got a quick shortcut option to switch to the front-facing camera off to our bottom right. Okay, so whether you want to swipe up or you find it's more convenient to push the shortcut button, those are the 2 different ways that you would jump to the front-facing camera. Now, if we swipe to the right, we get into our video mode here, and you can see our shutter button turns into a video record button. And you can see all the same rules apply. But the main difference is for video, you can do a super steady video, but when you set it to super steady, that caps the video at 1080p, and that kind of locks the zoom. So you have to preset the zoom when you use super steady mode before you start recording. Okay, but you can use super steady mode with the ultra wide camera and the primary camera, but you can't do it with the telephoto camera. Alright, now I will not have any super steady mode video in my video samples. That's not something that I use often, right? And then other than that, when we talk about video, when we talk about recording, let me turn on super steady here so I get all my features back. When we talk about recording, you can see we can record in 720p, 30 and 60 FPS. We can record in full HD or 1080p, 30 and 60 FPS. And then we can record in 4K at 30 and 60 FPS. Alright? Now, I also want to show you guys that when you record in 4K, let me show you what happens here. So we're recording in 4K, right? You then have access to your ultra wide, your primary, and your telephoto cameras, right? But when you go into 60, now you only have access to your primary camera, right? So the only way you can get access to using all your cameras is by recording in 30 frames per second mode. And the same rules apply if you record in 1080p 60. So if we go back to 4K 30 FPS, you can see I've gained back access to all of my cameras. If I switch over to 1080p, right, still have access to all of my cameras. But if I go to 1080p 60, look at that, I can only use the primary camera. This is why I'm only going to be recording in 30 FPS, and it's only going to be full HD, 1080p, or 4K, because I want to have access to all of the cameras. Alright? That's why I'm doing that. And another good thing that I like here is that with Samsung devices in particular, while recording, you do have the ability to switch between the cameras while recording. So you can switch between the front and the rear facing cameras and the ultra wide, the telephoto, and the primary camera, as long as you stick to recording at 30 frames per second. When you switch to 60 frames per second, you lose that capability. This is another reason why I'm only going to be recording in 30 frames per second. Alright? So I just wanted to go over that. And then you can see, and I forgot to point this out, but also in the viewfinder for photos, we have an icon that lets you use AI to optimize the scene. And we got that same icon for video, so you can see that small square lets you use AI, the square with the circle, lets you use AI to optimize the scene for your photos and your videos. Okay? Then if we swipe to the right again, this brings us into night mode. Now all my low light shots for my photo samples were taken using night mode. And you can use night mode on the front or the rear facing cameras. Then we have portrait mode. Okay. Now for reference here, all of my portrait mode shots were taken at 1x zoom. Okay. I don't like that super punched in shot that 3x zoom gives you. So all my portrait mode shots were taken at 1x zoom with the front facing camera. Right. Swiping over again here, this brings us into our pro video mode. Now in pro video mode, you can actually control and configure everything. And I use pro video mode often, especially when I'm demonstrating microphone performance for the different earbuds that I cover. Here's a sample of a pair of earbuds that I'm going to be covering soon, but that's when I primarily use pro mode. Because in pro mode, you can go to your mic settings and you can use Bluetooth audio, you can use connected USB audio, or you can use a mixture of audio sources to get the best overall audio. That's the primary thing that I use Pro Video for. Alright? So getting out of that, but you can pretty much control everything in Pro Video mode. Alright? So you can dial in your settings and then have your videos recorded exactly the way you like for Pro Video. And it works for the primary camera and the ultra wide camera. Again, as long as you're recording in 30 frames per second. Okay? Okay. Jumping over here. Now we have my absolute best or favorite mode, the dual recording mode. This lets you record with the front and the rear facing cameras at the same time. Now, when you're using a more flagship mainstream Samsung device, then you get access to director's view. For your low-end, mid-range, or low-end flagship devices like the FE series or the A series, you're only going to have access to dual recording. Sadly, I was hoping that we would get access to director's view on this device so I can give y'all a full tutorial and video review of director's view. I found that across YouTube doing my research, no one has really done a full in-depth video on director's view, but it's pretty awesome. The main director's view gives you control over all the cameras, and you can switch between those cameras while recording video. So if I wanted to, if I had access to director's view, I can start off recording with the front facing camera primarily. Then I can switch into a dual recording of the front and rear facing cameras. And then I can switch into a dual recording with the ultra wide camera or the telephoto camera. And I have the different ways that I can configure the layout, and it does that all in real time. So you can see the primary layout for dual recording is right here. You have the front facing camera in a small window, and then you have the rear facing camera in a bigger window. And then if you tap on the windows, it switches the cameras here. So if I tap here, it would switch the camera. If I tap there, it would switch the camera. But you also see we have an icon here that lets us switch the layout here. Now, my screen recording timer is over that layout, so I can't really get access to tapping on it. But it does work. You see I got it to work there. So you can see I switched the format of the recording. But that's really cool. But with director's view, you get more access to different formats. Okay, and now I'm having trouble switching it back because that overlay is killing me. There we go. Got it to switch back. Alright, but that's dual recording mode. And that's honestly my favorite recording mode. Again, I use this mode a lot when we talk about recording tutorials for the Bluetooth earbuds that I cover. Now, don't think that this is a new mode, guys and gals. I've said this in previous videos. This mode was actually available on older Samsung devices like your S6, your S6 Active, your S7, your S7 Active, so on and so forth. They just took it away as it got newer, and they converted it into director's view. But this feature has always been available on Samsung devices. All right, and my S7 Active has actually been what I've been using to record those tutorials with the dual recording feature. Okay, now moving on from dual recording, we get into the more section, and this is where you have access to the other camera modes for your Samsung Galaxy device. And this is also where you have access to configuring your mode carousel that you see me swiping left and right through in this walkthrough video, okay? But you can see we got Pro Photo Mode. Again, it gives you full control over your cameras for taking photos. Then we have Single Take, which is basically what they used to call Best Shot. So Single Take, it basically just takes a variety of different photos with all your cameras and then gives you the best shot stitched together in one good photo, right? That's what Single Take does, all right? Then getting out of that there, going back into more, the rest of this is pretty much self-explanatory here. Let me get back over here. Okay, so then we have panorama, self-explanatory. We got slow mode, okay? That lets you record video in up to 1080p at 120 frames per second. Then right next to that, we have super slow mode, which lets you record video in 720p at up to 960 frames per second. Then we have our portrait video. So portrait video just lets you record a video and have a nice blurred out background. And again, you can do this with the front or the rear facing camera. You can also lock the focus for faces and then blur out the background of the video. You can see it's scanning for faces right now, but it's not going to detect any because I'm using the rear facing camera right now. And then you can also control your blurred effect. So you can make it more blurry, less blurry. You could add blurred filters, all that good stuff there with portrait video mode. Okay, let's get out of that. Let's back out of that. And basically, guys and gals, that does it for your mode. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump all the way out. Okay. Oopsie. I'm finna jump all the way out again. Alright. And then also we have our food mode. So if you want your food to be looking nice and juicy and, you know, make people hungry every time they see it, you use food mode and you dial it in with that mode. And then if we hit the plus icon, we can configure our swiping carousel. So you can see this is how I configured the modes that I want on the carousel and took out the modes that I don't want. So you just press and hold and then you drag and drop. So if there's a mode that you don't want, you press and hold on it, you pick it up, and you take it out. So if I take out dual recording, then it's dropped onto the more mode section. And then to put it back in, you press and hold and you drag it down. And again, you place it anywhere you want to place it. Okay, let me put it back. I had it just after Pro Video. And then once you have it configured the way you want, you push save and it saves it just like that. And then you can swipe through your modes carousel by swiping left and right on the screen. Okay, now before we get into the photo and the video samples, let me take you through the subsettings menu for photos and videos. So in your subsettings menu, if we tap the gear settings icon, you can see this gives us access to our AI scene optimizer, which we could turn off and on. This gives us access to a document scanner for scanning documents and text. This also gives us access to our QR code scanner. We can also turn off and on our suggested best shot. Then we can also control what happens when we press and hold on the shutter button. So you can make it so you take a burst of photos, or you can make it so you create a GIF. Okay. Then we can also add a watermark, and that watermark is fully customizable. So you can control exactly what the watermark says by hitting the edit button. Okay. You can also control what displays along with the watermark, so you can add the date and the time. You can also change the fonts, so you can add different fonts. I like the Robo font, so that's what I have mine set to. And then you can control the alignment and the placement, so you can make it center space, you can make it off to the left, or you can make it off to the right. I like having mine off to the right. And then you can control the overall alignment, okay? So you can bring it up to the top, or you can put it down at the bottom, however you would like, but you can add in that watermark to really personalize your photo and really make it look more professional, okay? And that watermark also can help you with copywriting as well, okay? Because by adding this watermark, you specify who took the video. So if I wanted to, or you can also specify who took the photo. So if I wanted to, I can add in by and then my name, and then I can add in what device I use, and then that will pretty much watermark all of my images. So if there's any copyright issues, it's watermarked, you know it's mine. And it's really hard to remove, and it's added into the source code of the image, okay? So it takes a lot to remove it from the source code of the image, but that's your watermark settings. And then below that, we got an advanced features option. So this gives you access to the compressed formats. This also gives you access to the raw image for more editing. Maybe you want to take a raw image photo and then load it onto a computer and edit it that way, raw, untouched, okay? But by default, you get that GIF, okay? You get that optimized GIF when you take your photos, okay? That's under the advanced options. And then right below that, we got our selfie options, which you can see how I set mine. Then we got our video stabilization toggle. And then we got our advanced video options, okay? And this gives you access to the compressed format for video. But I don't use the compressed format because it's not compatible with everything. And sometimes you can lose the audio or the video just won't open. This also gives you access to the more color saturated HDR10 plus mode, so you can really make your videos look punchy. But I don't use that either because it tends to make the videos look a little bit oversaturated. And again, if you're watching back the video on something that doesn't support it, it can make your video look a little weird. So this is how you access these extra modes, but I don't use them because I want to go with a more general compatible format, okay? But that's how you would access that. Then we got our HDR, okay? High dynamic range. You're adding in more color. You're adding in better focus and really bringing out the shadows. That's what HDR does. Then we got our object tracking, self-explanatory. Then we have our grid lines. Now, sadly, when we turn on grid lines, Samsung only gives you access to the 3x3 grid line to help you line up your shots. Back in the day, They used to give you access to all the grid lines, but now they only use the 3x3 grid line. Okay? Because of that, I just got used to using the cameras without the grid line guidance. Okay? Then below that, we got our location tags or our metadata location tags. Now, I always turn this off for all of my devices because you guys and gals wouldn't believe how stupid easy it is to get access to someone's location based off of the pictures that they post on social media if they leave this option turned on. Okay? I'm not even going to explain to you how, but basically it really doesn't take a lot of time to get access to somebody's location data if they leave this option turned on. Now, yes, it does make it more convenient and it does give you access to more features in the gallery, but for security purposes, I always recommend that you guys and gals turn off the location tags or the location metadata because it adds location metadata to your photos and your video. Okay? And it's a security thing for me. That's why I always turn it off. Then below that, we have our additional shooting modes. Okay? So you can do it to where you start a video or take a selfie by holding up your palm. Okay? That's one mode. You can also configure what the volume button does. So you can configure it to zoom in and out, control the overall volume of the video, or take a photo or start recording a video. Okay? Then you can also toggle on your voice commands to take photos or start recording video. Okay? Then you can add a floating shutter button. Maybe you're trying to line up a video or take a photo, and when you're holding the camera the way you want, the shutter button on the screen is a little bit harder to reach. Turning on that floating shutter button will make the shutter button or recording button a lot easier to reach. Okay? Then after that, if we go down here, we get into our keep settings. And this is another option that I think you guys and gals should play around with and customize, because this makes it so the camera will remember the modes and settings that you use the most. Okay? That's the whole point of why it says keep settings. Okay? So it will remember the last camera mode that you were in for photos and videos. It will remember your angles for selfies. It will also remember your filters for selfies if you would like. It will also remember your settings for super steady mode. Remember, with super steady mode, you have to configure your camera settings, zoom, and all of that before you start recording, because once you start recording, you can't adjust the super steady mode settings on the fly. So if you like to use super steady mode and you like to have your settings dialed in a certain way, you toggle this on and it will remember those settings for you. And then every time you use super steady mode, it will have those settings already pre-applied. Same thing for the zoom on portrait mode shots. You can dial in the portrait mode exactly the way you want it and then toggle that on. And then every time you take a portrait mode shot, whether it be with the front or the rear facing camera, it will have those settings dialed in for you. Okay? The keep settings are all about ease of use and convenience. So you have to set it up once and then the phone remembers it. Okay? So you only have to struggle through setting it up one time. Okay? And then the rest of this is self-explanatory. So your shutter sound and your vibration on click, or your vibration feedback when you press the shutter button. All right? And then the rest of this is self-explanatory, your permissions, and then you can reset all the settings, and then your about camera, so you can see the camera software, and you can see it scans for the camera update when you jump into the about camera on the camera settings. Okay? And this, guys and gals, essentially goes over the entire camera interface, right? And you can see, jumping into video, the settings are basically the same. All right, so if we jump into video, all the settings are basically the same here. Okay? So you can see there's no real difference between the photo and the video subsettings. I like how Samsung unified everything. So basically when you jump into one settings, you jump into settings for basically everything. All right? But this, guys and gals, essentially goes over how I laid out my main camera interface and all the settings for the Samsung camera interface. All right, and how you would launch the cameras and how you would configure launching the cameras the way you want. All right, that being said, now I'm just going to cut to all of the photo and the video samples that I've taken. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to let you guys and gals know how I feel about the cameras overall. So I hope you guys and gals enjoyed the video, and I hope you find it helpful. If you do, please help your boy out by giving the video a thumbs up. That really does help me out. You don't know how much. If you really want to, also consider hitting the subscribe button and turning on bell notifications so you get notified when I publish new videos. And as always, if you'd like to know any more information or jump around to different parts of the video, all of my extended coverage, including affiliated buy links, will be available down below in the video description. As always, the video description is like a one-stop shop for everyone. Okay? Have a good one, everybody. I'll catch you guys and gals at the end of the video.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crowd from seeing to believing. Got a taste for blood and my tongue keeps bleeding. From the words I spit, so sharp, so freezing. So cold, behold, frostbite they feeling. I could tear you apart or I could go heal them. Don't believe in fate, don't believe in ceilings. I just need a taste and my mind starts peeling. I don't pace myself, I grind on kneeling. Got lust for change, I just love the feeling. I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. And I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. Cause I'ma live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I don't lie at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll soon be winning. I live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I don't lie at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll soon be winning. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Fuck me, I'm looking in the mirror, so foggy, but I've never seen clearer. I don't really think anyone can save me, and honestly I'm not really sure I want saving. I like to be my own worst enemy. There's no risk if you don't try at anything, so I'ma just keep buying everything. See you in the next life, hope to be a better me. I don't think that my head's on straight, gotta flip it and grip it and go and get an x-ray. What's wrong with me? I just feel weight pushing on my chest and it squeezes till I suffocate. Better change my mindset, meditate. It's pretty cool that I'm alive and have better days. I could walk, see, hear, I should celebrate. Think I could change my mind, maybe elevate. Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better days. Cause all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days. I'm kinda stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do I work hard or live at my pace? You're only young once, yeah that's all great, but I also want a future where I'm okay. Living life is doing lots of cocaine. Wait no, it's living with no shame. Wait no, it's sleeping in on Sundays. I guess it's different for each of us and that's okay. Well I just wanna be happy, how to get there? Glad that you asked me. I think it's different for everyone. Some of us need work, others need fun. Some of us need purpose to overcome. But try to do what you love when it's said and done. Cause there's so many differences in each of us. Trust your gut, it can show you what you want. Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better days. Cause all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days. Living life, every day, and I pray. All I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better days. Cause all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days.
Alright everyone, welcome back. Now in this portion of the video, we're going to get into doing the video samples for the front and rear facing cameras on the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE. Starting off here, we're doing some front facing footage with the front facing 32 megapixel camera. This is being recorded in 1080p at 30 FPS with no external microphone hooked up. And we're just recording some nice stationary vlog style footage here. So let me know what you guys and gals think of this. How's the overall video quality? How's the detail? How's the overall stabilization? And how's the overall audio performance from the built-in microphones? Let me know your feedback down below in the comments. Alright, let me spin the cameras around and let's get into testing out the rear facing cameras now. Alright everyone, and now we are back in. This time we're testing out the 12 megapixel primary, the 12 megapixel ultra wide, and the 8 megapixel telephoto camera on the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE. Once again, we're recording in 1080p at 30 FPS with no external microphone hooked up. Okay, excuse me. Starting off the testing here, we're testing out the ultra-wide primary camera on the S21 FE in 1080p at 30 FPS. Now, the ultra-wide camera on the S21 FE has a 123-degree field of view, but it can do everything the primary camera can do. So you have tap to focus, you have phase detection, autofocus, and you do have really nice stabilization with a really nice field of view. Now, I do want to apologize if y'all see a little black border around the edges of the ultra wide camera. That is because it is so wide, it's actually picking up the edges of the phone case that the phone is in. So you're going to have to forgive me on that one. It might also add in a focusing effect, but it is what it is. So starting off here, let's get into the testing. Y'all let me know how the overall stabilization, the overall video quality, and the overall audio quality is. Let's do this. So we're going to start off with our pans. So we're going to pan from here all the way through to right about there. We're going to do this 3 times. Okay, so that was 1. Coming on back. Here we go with number 2. Okay, coming on back. And here we go with number 3. Okay, coming on back. Bring it over to the center. Now we're going to do an exposure test. So we're going to pan up and down. We're going to use the tree in the distance as our main focal point, and we're going to pan up and down. Now with the exposure test, you want a nice even transition from the lighter areas of the scene to the darker areas of the scene with minimal to no exposure blowout. And if the cameras do blow out in an exposure, you want them to recover as evenly and as quickly as possible. Let's see how the ultra wide cameras do. Let's go. So we should be lined up on the tree, and let's pan down. Oh, look at that. You can even catch my shoes in the frame. And pan up. We're going to do this 3 times. So that was 1. How was that? Coming on down. That's 2. Coming on up. And that's 3. Let's go down again. And come up. That's 3. How was that overall exposure there? That actually looked pretty good based on what I could see from the viewfinder. Now we're going to go directly into testing the focus. We're going to use our typical focal subjects. So we're going to use these bushes to my left as one focal subject. We're going to use the tree in the center there of the frame as the main focal subject. And we're going to use this pillar, the white pillar off to my right, as our third focal subject. Now, as I said, everything the primary cameras can do, the ultra-wide cameras can do, but the ultra-wide cameras tap out at a recording resolution of 4K 30 FPS. That's why I'm tapping out my video at 4K 30 FPS. But let's do this here. We're going to test out continuous autofocus first. So continuous autofocus lets the camera do everything. And then I'm going to adjust my grip and we're going to test out tap to focus. Here we go. So focal subject number 1. That should be lined up on the bushes. And you guys and gals, let me know how you feel the camera performs down below in the comments. That looks good. Focal subject number 2. Tree in the center. That also looks good. Focal subject number 3. Pillar to the right. That looks good too. And let's go back to the bushes. We're going to do this 2 times. So that was 1. Here we go with number 2. Them bushes look good. It is hot today. It's like 93 degrees. Okay. Tree in the center. That also looks good. I hope we don't lose the sun. And then pillar to the right. That looks good too. All right. So that was continuous autofocus. Let me adjust my grip. Here we go. Tap to focus time. Bushes to the left. Tap. Locked up. And I want to remind everyone that we do have focus controls. We do have exposure controls as well. So I can tap to focus on the subject. Then I can dial in the exposure. So I can overexpose. I can underexpose. I could dial it in just the way I want it and lock it. And then I could do the same for the focus. So I can lock the exposure here and I can lock the focus here. And you can see I've dialed it in perfectly to the scene, right? Just by doing it from the main viewfinder. So now you can see the image should not overexpose, it should not underexpose, and that focus is nice and locked. And then when I want to get out of that, I just have to tap anywhere on the screen to go back to autofocus and auto exposure. I wanted to remind everyone of that as well. And you can also still take photos while recording video as well. All right. So tapped on the bushes. That was super duper quick. Coming over, tapping on the tree in the center. Again, super duper quick. And then the pillar to my right, tap, super duper quick. And I got to tell y'all, there's literally minimal to no exposure adjusting. It just seems to be like perfectly locked in. So that was 1. Coming back over, bushes to my left, tap, locked up. Okay. Tree in the center, tap, locked up. And then pillar to the right, tap, and we're locked up. Good stuff there. Good stuff there indeed. Now let's go down to the primary 12 megapixel camera. And notice the difference in the change of the field of view. So once again, here's the ultra wide, a lot more in the frame, and here's the primary, a lot less in the frame, right? But notice the bump in detail, right? And also notice the bump in stabilization. So let's pan real quickly. Look how smooth this is. And for those of you who don't know, I am disabled and I do have super shaky hands, but look how smooth that is. All right, super duper smooth. And a pro tip when panning, you want to go as slow as possible and try to be as smooth as possible. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Okay. Now let's do a quick exposure test with the primary camera here. So we're lined up on our tree. Let's pan down to the ground. And look at that. You can't even get my feet in the frame anymore. Look at that. Big difference in the field of view. How's the exposure adjustments doing here? Let me know down below. So that was 1. We're going to do this one 3 times as well. Here we go with number 2. Coming up. That's not bad. That's not bad. It is darkening up the scene a little bit based on what I can see, but it's not bad. I got to see what the video looks like in post. So that was number 2. Here we go with the 3rd one. Coming down. And coming up. Boom. All right, so that was 3. That was our exposure. Now let's do our focus testing. So pillar to the right, how does that look? Tree in the center, how does that look? And then bush to the left, how does that look? That actually looks really, really good. Let's do it again. We're going to do this 2 times. So that was 1. Pillar to the right, that looks pretty good. Tree to the center, that also looks pretty good. Bushes to the left, that was 2. Let me adjust my grip. Here we go. Pillar to the right, tap, locked up, that was super duper fast. Tree in the center, tap, locked up, that was also super duper fast. And then bushes to the right, left, tap, locked up, again, super duper fast. Okay, good stuff there indeed. Now let's do it one more time. Pillar to the right, tap, locked up, a little bit of an exposure adjustment there based on what I could see through the viewfinder, but not much, very subtle, still very nice overall. Tree in the center, tap, locked it up, really super duper quick. And then bushes to the left, tap, locked it up. And again, just like with the ultra wide, we can tap on the subject, we can adjust the exposure, so I can overexpose, I can underexpose, or I can dial it in perfectly for the scene. Then I can lock it, then I can lock the focus as well, so it's all locked up. And this is perfectly adjusted for the scene here today, at least based on my eyes, what I'm seeing with my eyes, based on what I could dial in with the viewfinder. So again, that focus is locked, that exposure is locked. There should be no exposure blowout with that. That's super duper solid right there. Super duper solid. Good stuff there indeed. Okay, so that goes over the focus testing. And now let's test out the telephoto camera, which is an 8 megapixel telephoto camera. And telephoto cameras are basically used for zoom, and they're used for capturing portraits, okay? That's primarily what I would use a telephoto camera for the zoom and the capturing of the portraits. All right, so basically we're gonna pick a subject here and we're gonna zoom in as far as we can. All right, so right now we're on the primary camera here, and let's use the top of the big bush there in the distance. Let me lock the focus. Let me adjust the exposure just a little bit. That looks perfect. And now let's zoom in here. So this is 1 time zoom. We can go all the way in, 3 times zoom with our shortcut, and then we can pinch to zoom all the way up to 12 times. So this is 12 times right here. But notice how pixelated and how grainy that is, because after a certain extent, you're just digitally cropping the image. So I never recommend zooming in all the way with your smartphone cameras. Ideally, you want to stop right about here, which is 2 times zoom, or even better still, you can go even further in. This is 1.5 times zoom right here. And I would stop either here or at 2 times zoom, right? So this is 1.5 and you saw 2 times. The most you want to zoom in with your smartphone cameras is right here. This is 2.5 times zoom right here. And that maintains a good focal distance, but also maintains detail and stabilization, all right? So that's what I would recommend, right? And y'all let me know, what do you think? How do you feel the telephoto camera is performing? How do you feel the ultra-wide camera performed? And how do you feel the primary camera performed? Again, leave that feedback down below in the comments. And another cool feature that I want to point out is that we can switch between all the cameras with our Samsung Galaxy camera application. So we can go from the ultra wide to the primary to the telephoto and to the front. Let me adjust my wrist here, video, and I don't have to stop recording. So you can see now we've switched to the front facing 32 megapixel camera. And then if I want to, I can switch back to the boom. Now we're on the rear ultra wide 12 megapixel camera. Then I could switch to the rear 12 megapixel primary camera. Then I could switch to the 8 megapixel telephoto camera, all in one video, and I don't have to stop recording. This is super duper sweet, and this should allow for maximum versatility, all right? Good stuff here indeed, okay? I hope you guys and gals enjoyed this portion of the video. Now I'm gonna run inside and we're gonna test out these cameras again in the same resolution in an indoor daytime low light scenario. So give me 1 second and I'll be right back with everyone for the next set of tests. I'll see y'all in a little bit. Alright everyone, and now we're testing out the front and the rear facing cameras on the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE indoors daytime low light scenario test here. And starting off, we're testing out the front facing 32 megapixel camera indoors daytime low light with no external microphone hooked up. So a real quick vlog style stationary test for this one. Y'all let me know what you think. And you know, I want to try something a little bit different with this test. So being as the newer Galaxy devices give you the ability to switch between all the cameras as long as you stay recording at 30 FPS, we're going to go straight from testing out the front-facing cameras here into testing out the rear-facing cameras. So all I'm going to do is click the switch button and we're going to keep recording, and we're going to try to record this whole test in one take. So here we go. So that was the front-facing camera, and here goes the rear-facing cameras. So let's start off with the ultra-wide. So this is what the ultra-wide looks like indoors, daytime, low-light testing here. And let me just verify for everyone. So if I pan over, you can see that all my other lights are turned off here. So you can see my professional studio lights are turned off. My smart lights are turned off. The only light we have lighting up the scene here today is the natural light coming in through the window. I cracked the shades, I just closed the blinds, right? Quick verification. So now let's pan back over and let's angle everything up in the traditional reviewer style angle. Let me back up a little bit, just like that. And now let's angle it down, just like that. And you can see this is what the ultra wide cameras look like in this indoor daytime low light scenario. And I gotta tell you, from afar, like if I was doing a review from afar and I had to record in this low light scenario, like I didn't have professional studio lights or smart overhead lights, this isn't bad. Like if I wanted to just quickly showcase something, this isn't bad. And I have to say this, Samsung, your upgrade to the ultra-wide camera isn't bad as well. So doing a quick detail and focus test, you can see it is grainy. So of course, less light means less performance. So the more light you have, the better the performance is going to be. But this is definitely more usable than Samsung's older ultra-wide cameras. This is a really nice ultra-wide 123-degree field of view camera right here. But you can see it definitely is struggling in this low light scenario right here. Okay? And then if we switch and do like a real quick detail focus test, you can see it does lock in focus on the bigger details quite nicely. But where it really starts to suffer is when you try to get those smaller granular details. Yeah. This is where you definitely want to switch to the primary camera. And I gotta tell y'all, the telephoto camera really falls apart when there's no light. So basically, all we're using with the rear-facing cameras here is the ultra-wide and the primary. So that's what the ultra-wide can do. Now let's quickly switch to the primary 12 megapixel camera. And then look at the difference in field of view, y'all. Check this out. So let me do that one more time. Let me angle this over just a touch. So this is the primary. I'm going to keep it in the same position. And here's the ultra wide. Check that out. Look at that. I'm a big sucker for a good ultra wide camera. So I'm really enjoying this. Let's go back to the primary. And check that out. And notice the boost in detail. What we lose in field of view, I feel like it's kind of made up for with the addition of new detail. Again, check out the detail test. Check out how legible those keys are on my keyboard here, even in this low light scenario here. This is really good stuff. Really good stuff. Right? And then let's do a quick focus and detail test. So picking back up my S7 Active here, check this out. Really nice focus, especially on those bigger objects. Look how it nicely blurs out the background there. You get this nice natural depth of field blur going on in the background. And then if we try to focus on that smaller text, look at the difference there. Look at how much more legible that is. Look at how much more readable that is compared to the ultra wide. And I'm not even going to test the telephoto because, believe me, I've tried a couple goes off camera and the telephoto has a really narrow field of focus and it really does fall apart in lower light scenarios. That's why I'm just testing the ultra wide and the primary in this lower light scenario right here. But look at that. And then if I pull it out, look at how quickly it locks back up on the keyboard. Almost instant, nice little granular shift and lock. Good stuff. Bringing it back in. Look how quickly it locks back on. Look at that. That is awesome. That is awesome. Okay? So check that out, y'all. So real quick test of the front facing, the primary, and the ultra wide cameras today in indoors, daytime, low light scenarios. And I gotta say, it was pretty cool to test out that all-in-one take feature with the Samsung device. And I think I might test it out again. Indoors, nighttime, artificial light settings here. So I'm gonna wait till it gets a little bit darker and we're gonna retest these cameras again and see how they perform. And then I think I might also do it again when we testing out the cameras again in 4K at 30 FPS. So this allows me to record more things all in one take. And that's what I really like. Does it leave the window open for more mistakes? Yes. But overall, it makes it more convenient and faster, and the ability to switch between all the cameras on the fly is really, really nice. So I hope you guys and gals enjoyed this quick test, and I'm going to come back in a little bit, and we're going to test the cameras again at nighttime in artificial lighting scenarios, and then probably on like Monday or Tuesday, we're going to test out the cameras again in 4K at 30 FPS, and then wrap this video up. Hope you guys enjoy it. Hope you guys and gals find it helpful. And I'll see you guys in the next set of clips. I'll see you in a little bit. It's going to be a couple hours for me, followed by a couple days for me. But it's going to be a couple seconds for you guys. So I hope you appreciate it. See you in a little bit. Alright everyone. And now we are back in testing out the front and rear facing cameras on the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE. This time we're testing them out in nighttime artificial lighting scenarios here. So starting off, we are testing out the front-facing cameras in a indoor nighttime selfie style, vlog style test here. So you guys and gals let me know what you think of the overall video quality, what you think of the overall audio quality, and what you think of the overall stabilization, okay? Once again, this is being recorded with no external microphone hooked up. And real quickly, because I'm going to try to do this all in one take, let's now spin to the rear-facing cameras and test out those cameras in the same lighting scenario here. Let's go. So real quick tap. And now we are on to the rear-facing 12, 12, and 8 megapixel cameras on the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE. All right. So let's start off with the ultra-wide camera first. And just so I can verify for everyone, if I pan over here, y'all can see there is no light coming through the window. The shades are still cracked, but the blinds are closed. But you can also see I have my professional studio lights turned off, but I have my smart lights turned on, and I have the color set to white. All right, so this is indeed a nighttime artificial light test here. Just a real quick verification for everyone. Now let's pan back over and angle this up in the traditional reviewer style angle and jump into the testing. So that looks about straight. Let's back up a little bit. Okay, that looks good. And then let's pan them down. All right, let's go. And there we have it. All right, a nice reviewer style angle clip here. All right, I'll see that right there. All right. And again, I want you guys and gals to pay special attention to the field of view. Now, this is starting out testing out the ultra wide camera, the ultra wide 12 megapixel camera, and it has a 123 degree field of view. All right. And look, because we're using artificial lighting here, you can actually pick up a lot of detail even though we're not using natural light. So let's do a quick detail and focus test with the ultra wide cameras. Picking up my keyboard here. Look at how legible and crispy this text is. Let me get y'all in nice and tight. Check that out. Now, yes, when you get in nice and tight, it is a little bit of grainy, and it is a little bit grainy. It is a little bit grainy, and it does lose a little bit of detail, but that is more than legible and usable. All right, check that out. Check that out. Okay. And then if we do a real quick focus test with the ultra wide cameras, let's use the Roku remote this time. So bringing in the Roku remote, getting nice and tight. Look at that. You can easily read the buttons there. You can easily read the words there. Nice. And again, when you get in close, it does get a little bit grainy, but that's not bad. Let's switch to the traditional S7 active back. And again, check this out. Right there. Look at how much it picks up that detail when you get in nice and tight. Now, it does still struggle with the smaller text right there. And this is why I use the S7 active as a focal testing device now, because trying to focus on that smaller text is really a struggle for some devices when you don't have a lot of light. All right, but it does a fairly decent job there. But that's testing out the ultra wide cameras. Now let's switch to the primary 12 megapixel camera. And again, look at the difference in field of view. So I'm not going to move it, but let's go back to the ultra wide real quickly here. Ultra wide, and then I'm just going to quickly switch to the primary. Primary. You see the big difference in the field of view? Now to get the same angle, I got to back up a little bit, okay? And then just make sure I line up everything straight here. And now we have a similar view to what we had with the ultra wide, and you see, now it looks good. But also, notice again, like I said earlier, look at the improvements in the overall detail representation. Look how tack sharp and crispy that text is on my keyboard here, right? That looks super duper solid right there. Whew. Super duper solid. Okay? And then let's do some focus testing with some different products here. So again, let's bring in that Roku remote one more time. And look at how much sharper the Roku remote is with the main sensor. There's no graininess. There's no pixelation. Everything is nice and tack sharp. All right, good stuff there. And then finally, let's round out with the S7 Active. Look at the nice stipple pattern going on back there. Look at the detail that it's able to pick up right there. And it only gets better as I tilt the device in and out of the light here. So you can see if I tilt it just right, it picks up all the stipple pattern. And then going down to that smaller text, if I tilt it just right again, it picks up all that small text right there. And it's nice and readable and legible. You got to tilt it just right. There it is. That's perfectly readable right there. And then look at the nice shallow depth of field going around the edges of my hands there. All right, and then let's see how quickly it locks back up on focus on the keyboard when I take the device out. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. And we're back on the keyboard. So the focusing speed is actually really, really fast. Really fast. And let's bring the device back in one more time. Boom, and now we're back on the device. And again, check out that nice stipple pattern right there. Let's go back to the smaller text. Look at how legible and readable that is. Good stuff right there. And then let's drop the device out and go back to the keyboard and see how quickly that locks back up on the keyboard. 3, 2, 1, go. Boom, and we're back on the keyboard. So you guys and gals can see the name of the game to get the best performance out of your device, especially this device, is light. Okay? Using the appropriate light and using the best sensor possible. And then let's see how the telephoto camera performs here. Right? So now let's switch to the 8 megapixel telephoto camera. Boom. And you can see it actually does a decent job now that we have a good amount of light. Now, if I would have tried to do this earlier, it really had trouble focusing, right? That's why I didn't do it in the earlier low light test, because it really had trouble focusing. I tried it like 6 or 7 times, and it just would not lock focus. I think out of the 6 or 7 times that I tried it, it locked focus 1 time. But you can see when we have a decent amount of light, that text is nice and tack sharp, okay? And you can actually see my keyboard is actually kind of dirty right there. That's that, yeah. Okay. And then let's try to line up focus on our device here. And again, look at that nice stipple pattern. Now that we can get that nice close up. Check that out. And then look at the smaller text down here. Bam, look at that. Look how readable and legible that is. Now that we have good enough light to do that there, that actually looks really, really good. It's almost like you could take a picture of that and make out all those numbers. Good stuff indeed. So once again, the name of the game, and I'm sorry if I'm sounding like a broken record, is light and good cameras. And I have to say, the cameras on the S21 FE are really, really good cameras, all right? Depending on how much light you have to light up the scene, all right? All right, everyone. So now, a little bit later on this week, I'm going to test out the cameras for the final time in 4K at 30 FPS, and then I'm going to let you guys and gals know how I feel about the cameras overall, and if not, I can recommend a device strictly based off of the camera performance. Because I do know a lot of people pick up their devices strictly based off of how good the cameras are. Because for a lot of people, their smartphone is their main device. It's their main computing device. It's their main camera. It's their main device overall. And a lot of people really value a really good camera, especially for point and shoot video and point and shoot photos. All right. So y'all give me a little bit. It's going to be a couple days for me. It's going to be a couple seconds for you guys. But I hope you guys and gals enjoy these last set of clips. And actually, it's going to be one big clip because I'm going to do what I just did here and try to record it all in one take. All right, I'll be right back with everyone for the final clip. See y'all in a little bit. All right, everyone. And now we are back in. And we're testing out the cameras on the S21 FE in 4K at 30 FPS. That's right, we've reached the final recording samples. So we're outside today in the big yard here today, and we're going to run through our usual tests. Then I'm going to spin the cameras around and let you guys and gals know how I feel about these cameras in general. So it is about 93 today. I'm sitting in the shade underneath my favorite tree, but it's still hot. And I was the genius that decided to wear all black and white today. Don't judge me. I wear what I want to wear, but it's still hot. So let's try to get this video done quick, fast, and in a hurry so we can go inside and start editing. I hope everyone finds it helpful, and let's get into these last set of clips. Let's go. So we're going to start off with our pans. We're going to pan from here all the way through to right about there and back. We're going to do it 2 times with each camera. We're starting off today with the ultra wide camera, then we're going to switch between the primary camera, and then we'll finish off with a zoom test. So let's go. Starting with number 1, let's go from here all the way to there and back. So that's 1. Let's go again. And that's 2 and back. Alright, and then let's bring it back to the center. Let's switch to the primary 12 megapixel sensor and let's do it again. So again, look at the difference in the field of view. Here we go. Gonna go from here and we're gonna pan through all the way through to about there. It's kind of hard to remember to keep my hand stopping in the same position. So from here we go at number 2 to there. Alright, let's bring it back to the center. Let's switch back to the ultra wide and let's do an exposure test. Now, as I always say, when we do the exposure test, we want a nice even transition from the lighter areas to the darker areas of the scene. But it is a gorgeous day today. I don't think we're going to have any exposure issues. But we're going to line up on this tree right in front of me here, this long one right in front of me here. And we're going to pan up and down and see how the cameras do adjusting for exposure. Then we're going to switch to the primary camera and do the same thing. We're going to do it 2 times on each. Here we go. Ultra wide first. Lined up on the tree and coming down. Alright, and coming back up and coming down and coming back up. That was 2. Alright, let's switch to the primary and let's run it again. So lined up on the tree and we're coming down and we're coming up. And we're coming back down. And we're coming up. So that was 2. Now let's go back to the ultra wide and let's do the focus test. Let's pick our focal subjects. So I like this tree directly in front of us, this tall one. I like this mango tree off to my right. Y'all see that beautiful mango right there? Look at that bad boy. It's going to be a good season, right? And then look at the tree over the shed right there. Those are going to be our 3 focal subjects. We're going to test each camera 4 times. 2 times with continuous autofocus and 2 times with tap to focus. And again, we're starting off with the ultra wide first. Here we go. So main tree in front. That looks good. Mango tree to the right. That also looks good. Okay. And then tree over the shed. That looks good. The ultra wide, when you give it enough light, it does a great job. So that was 1. Here we go with number 2. Tree in front. Mango tree to the right. And tree over the shed. That's 2. Let me adjust my grip here. Sorry for the shaky cam production. And let's do the tap to focus now. Tree in front. Tap. Locked up. That was super duper quick, but then again, we basically have perfect lighting here today. Mango tree to the right. Let me see if I can lock up focus on that mango. Tap. Locked up. Good stuff. And then tree over the shed. Tap it. Lock it. It's almost instant with perfect light, yo. It's almost instant. Alright, let's do it one more time. Tree in front. Tap. Locked up. Mango tree to the right. Tap on the mango. Boom. Locked it up. And then tree over the shed. Tap. Locked up. The focusing speeds when you have great light are pretty much perfect and almost instant when you tap on what you want to focus on. It's great stuff. Great stuff indeed. Alright, now switching to the primary. Gonna run them again. So continuous autofocus first. Tree in front. That looks good. That looks real good. Mango tree to the right. Can I lock up focus on that mango? Oh, it looked good. It looks real good. And then tree over the shed. Boom. That's 1. Let's go again. Tree in front. Boom. Mango tree to the right. Lock up focus on that mango. Boom. Tree over the shed. Boom. Let me adjust my grip. Get that grip right. Get that grip tight. All right. Tree in the front. Tap. Locked up. Jeez. The primary 12 megapixel camera is even faster when focusing in great light. Let's lock up on that mango. Boop. Locked up. Good stuff. Tree over the shed. Boop. locked up. One more time. Tree in front, tap, locked up. Mango off to the right, tap, locked up. And then tree over the shed, tap, locked up. Good stuff. Good stuff indeed. All right. Now, before we switch to the front-facing camera, let's do a quick zoom test, right? So if we go from ultra-wide, so now we're on the ultra-wide, we could pinch to zoom. So we could pinch in and out and get those granular controls. We can configure the volume buttons to zoom, or we can just tap on the camera shortcut and then press and hold and slide through it. So we can slide all the way through. We can go all the way up to 12 times zoom in video, which is 30 times zoom when taking photos, just so everyone knows. So now, y'all see that tree all the way in the distance over there? This mango tree is kind of blocking it a little bit, but that tree all the way in the distance over there. Let's lock up focus on that. All right, let me lock the focus in. Let me dial in the exposure. Let me lock up the exposure. Let me lock up the focus. And now let's zoom in, y'all. Let's go. So this is ultra wide, 0.5 times zoom. All right, let's go to the edge of the ultra wide. This is 0.9 times zoom. This is the edge of the ultra wide. So we're still using the ultra wide cameras here. Once we go past this, it's going to drop us into the primary 12 megapixel camera. So now we're on the primary camera. We're at 1 times zoom. Okay, let's keep going. 1.5 times zoom. Look at that. Keep going. 2.4. 2.5. 2.5 times zoom. Let's keep going. 4.4 times zoom. Let's keep going. 6.4 times zoom. Let's keep going. 10.6 times zoom. And 12 times zoom. And y'all can see how shaky and grainy that image has gotten as we zoomed all the way in to that tree in the distance. We got amazing focal length, but look at how the image has degraded. That's because we're digitally cropping the image. And now we're on the 8 megapixel telephoto sensor. So again, as I said before in my other video, you really don't want to go past at the most 2.5 times zoom. So let's go 2.5 times. Boom. And boom. 2.5 times zoom. That's still really, really good. Now it is degraded a little bit, but the colors and stuff are still decent, and the stabilization is still rock solid. Okay, so that's a real quick zoom test there in 4K at 30 FPS. Boom. Now, let me quickly switch to the front-facing camera, and we can close out this video. And I can do it all in one take. So all I got to do is hit the spin button. And now we're on the front-facing camera here, y'all. All right, so closing thoughts as we test out the front-facing 32 megapixel camera for the final time. Closing thoughts. How do I feel about the cameras on the S21 FE? All right, well, honestly, I've been using these cameras for like a week and a half straight, recording different things. Y'all will see different videos go live on the channel, and I'll be sure to let you know when I recorded videos with this camera. But I've been recording a variety of different things, whether it was recording just for this dedicated camera video or recording for other videos. And I have to say, the cameras on the S21 FE are really, really good. And for the price that you can get this device for, if you want to go ahead and get this device strictly for the super solid, really good cameras, then I can definitely recommend that you guys and gals go out there and pick it up. Now, in regards to other things like battery life, performance, all those other things, well, you guys and gals are going to have to wait for my full review on the entirety of the device for that one. But if you just want to know if I can recommend a device strictly based on the camera performance, then oh yes, especially for the price that you can pick it up for. That being said, I hope you guys and gals enjoyed this video. I hope you guys and gals found it helpful, and I will catch everyone in the next one. Have a good one, everybody. Stay safe out there, and catch you in the next one. Peace. We're out of here. Woo! Man, it makes it super duper convenient to where you can control all of the cameras from one camera app and you don't have to pause and stop and shift. Hell yeah, Samsung, y'all did a great job with this camera software. I like it. All right, have a good one, everybody. We're out of here. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.